Hi, I'm Lisa Romero Lopez. We're here today to talk to you about Carol Gilligan. Gilligan. But first, we want to let you know that moral development is the spice of life. So we have spice drops for everybody.
Thank you. Okay, this must be mine.
F5.
F5. Okay. So this is Carol Gilligan. She's an American feminist, ethicist, and psychologist.
Just hit F5.
Pardon?
F5?
Just 5?
Okay, there.
Okay, now F5.
No, just,
Yes, you're there.
now just enter to go.
Okay, a little bit background. She was born in November 28th of 1936, raised in New York City. She's got a master's degree in clinical psychology, a PhD in social psychology, and she's really known for her book In a Different Voice. Okay, where am I? Okay, and one major thing, she taught with Erickson at Harvard in 1967. And also, she worked with Lawrence Kohlberg. She was his assistant for a long, long time. And then, but she also became one of his biggest critics, saying that he only interviewed, when he did his studies, the white privileged boys. So, which she says caused a biased opinion towards women. And Kohlberg was known for research on moral development, and his was justice and rights. And her primary focus was moral development in girls. Okay, and her interest grew, and she interviewed a lot of men thinking about enlisting for the Vietnam War, and she interviewed also women that were thinking about having an abortion to get the caring. Her theory on education is that everyone should focus on education and everyone's need for it is important. That a person should not put the needs of others before their own, especially in the case of education. You know, don't stay home, you know, and take care of the kids, etc. You know, you need to go out and get an education. It's so important. And then her theory of moral development is divided into 3 stages. One is it's called the pre-conventional. It's the selfish stage. It's a stage where it's self-survival. You know, you're going to be selfish. Then it moves to a conventional morality, and finally to post-conventional or principled morality. Do you want to go?
And here's a chart or a graph of the different stages and goals of each one of her stages. So pre-conventional is individual survival, me. Then the transition is from the selfishness to responsibility for others. The conventional self-sacrifice is good, such as the woman who sacrifices for her children, for her husband, for her family, for her parents, rather than doing the things that she might really want to do. She's constantly putting others ahead of herself. And then the transition is from goodness to truth, that she is a person too. It's the post-conventional, and a lot of people never reach this stage. A lot of people get stuck in the conventional and don't know how, never progress on to.
So these little thing for pre-conventional, just so kids being selfish, self-survival, he doesn't want to share. Down to here, I love myself. It's a stage where, you know, you just want to be a child. You want to be selfish. You want to take care of yourself and only yourself. And then you start transitioning into a phase where you'll start to see a connection between you and others.
Which is this stage. This is the conventional stage. This is where, and we gave examples of the sandwich generation. Nowadays, It's called the sandwich generation. It's mostly women, but there are couples, men and married couples, who are in this circumstance where they're still taking care of children that are growing, but now they're also taking care of their adult parents who are aging and need assistance. So they're sandwiched in the middle between their younger ones and their older ones. So this is definitely a good example of always putting others before yourself. Not taking the time to take care of yourself.
And this where like tensions will arise because you don't know what's right, what's wrong. You got everybody pulling you from both sides, and you're like going, "What am I doing?" So it's a really hard time in life because we're told you need to take care of your kids, but then you have your responsibility to your parents, which is hard to overcome.
So how do you fit in time for yourself? I mean, a lot of us just always neglect ourselves and don't even think of the fact that we need to take care of ourselves, because if you don't take care of yourself, you really will not be in any shape to take care of anybody else. So taking care of self is extremely important. Which moves on to the post-conventional stage, which is you can learn to, I can love me, but I can love you too. And reminder, take care of myself. If you have to put a Post-it on your mirror or hang a note, put notes around the house or whatever to remind yourself that you are a person too, you matter too, and that it's okay, not only is it necessary, but it is okay to take care of yourself. And a lot of people have a hard time with that concept. They're not quite able to fully grasp that.
And then, some people never reach this stage, which I don't think I've met anybody that's never been at this stage. I don't know. I see that so hard to say that some people never reach this level.
I think most people don't reach this stage until later in life. I mean, I have to admit that I have reached this stage, but I didn't reach it until I was into my 40s. So, it is a difficult stage to enter, but it is possible. Okay, now, the male versus female approach. As you can see, females tend to approach things in a more morality-based,
caring way. And males, it's for justice, right and wrong.
Things tend to be more black and white for the men, I'm generalizing. I know that there are exceptions to every rule, but women tend to see things more in gray than in black and white. We sometimes have the ability to view the middle ground rather than taking an extreme position like one way or the other.
And our decisions with women, they're based on how is it going to affect the other person? How will it affect, my friends, my family, my children? Maybe men are more, I don't want to call selfish, but men they have their role. Women care for others, and that's just, I think, an innate ability that we got when we were born. I've always been told that girl babies stronger than boy babies because we're born that way. We have to be the stronger sex because as to gender bias, we're always picked on, girls can't do this, girls can't do that, and that we've just learned to be a stronger sex. Okay, hang on. Is that it?
Oh, I guess so.
Okay, now we have...
So, we have some criticisms. There are critics of Gilligan's work. And one particular critic, where's her name?
Was it Summers?
I believe it was Summers. She believed that Gilligan's samples were too small, that researchers have been unable to duplicate her studies. And also there are those, especially Summers, who believes that gender studies should be left to neuroscience and evolutionary psychology rather than education. Also, another criticism is that the male view of moral development focuses on rights and rules, was considered a higher stage than women's point of view of development, which is in terms of caring and the effect on human relationships. Those were basically the only criticisms that we found in our research on her work.
Granted, she's not, she's kind of dropped by the wayside now. Everything has, she's not well known as, Freud, Erickson, those guys.
Is she still alive?
Oh,
She's
yeah,
still
she's
alive.
still
She teaches at, I want to say, New York University.
She's in New York,
as
right.
a professor.
She's
She's still alive, but her research just isn't out there anymore. It's hard to duplicate. A lot of people haven't duplicated it. We're just going more, it's all now justice and rights, a lot of that.
And some of her more recent stuff is she coordinated the formation of the new Harvard Center on Gender and Education. She has been instrumental in the research on adolescence, moral development, and conflict resolution. And one of her other most recent works is developing a listening guide method, a voice-centered relational approach to understanding the human word.
Can't read my writing?
No,
World.
human world. So she is still active and participating in moral development.
In her time, she was honored. She was one of Time Magazine's, she was one of the top 25 most influential people. And she was also given an award, which was the prestigious Grawemeyer Award in Education. And this award is given to those who don't get the Nobel Peace Prize. So it's
in different categories than the Nobel Prize.